As a former player, what difference does the crowd make to you? Having a full crowd there behind you, cheering you, what difference does that make to you when you're out there playing?
I think if that, well, it can go two ways really. I think it can spur you on. It can get your adrenaline going, but also it can put you into a shell. It depends on where you're playing. There's been some hostile places I've played. Millwall, for example, is a hostile place, but if you let it get to you, it can affect your performance. But you know what I mean? I thrived on playing in front of people. I used to hate pre-season games when there was hardly any people there. I used to hate when I played reserve games coming back from injury, because you're playing in front of empty stadiums, and it was hard to motivate yourself sometimes when there's nobody there. So credit to these players who are motivating themselves, and managers who are motivating the players to play in front of empty stadiums. Because for me, fans played a massive part in getting me going for warming up. You can feel the buzz, and when you walk out in front of a crowd at 5-3 with the referee in front of you is just the best feeling ever. And listening to that noise when you score a goal, and you know what I mean, I don't know, until I've sampled it and scored a goal with no fans, then I can't compare. But I'm guessing it would not come anywhere near close to the feeling when you hear 5, 10, 20, 30, 80,000 fans. You know what I mean? It would just be very, very different.
And the fact you're doing it for your hometown club as well, that's got to put a little bit of extra sugar on the top, hasn't it?
Yeah, massively. You know what I mean? I was so lucky that I left school at 16-year-old and walked straight into my hometown club at Middlesbrough. And you know what I mean, that club at the time were going places. Brian Robson had just taken over as manager, and Steve Gibson had promised him the world. And well, they didn't just promise him; he gave him the world and backed him as well. And I was lucky enough to make my debut as a 16-year-old in front of my family, friends, ex-schoolmates. You know what I mean, playing with all these world-class footballers, and then you know, it doesn't get any better than that. And then to carry on and seeing these world-class footballers walk through the revolving door was just an amazing thing. You know, that Man United's best came through one year, and then Champions League's best walking through the next, and it was just a brilliant feeling, and just got better and better every year. And even the heartache of 2 cup final defeats and relegation didn't squash it for me, because it just made my appetite and wanted to get that great football club back to the Premier League the next season even stronger. And thankfully we did that and kicked on a little bit. And even when I left, you know what I mean, that football club evolved a little bit. Steve McLaren took over and brought his own players, his own ideas in it. I was still a football fan and still a Middlesbrough fan, and still am to this day. And they're the first, you know, the first team I look for, and just so happy to see them get the first silverware and get to a European Cup final. And you know what I mean, and I'm gutted the position they're in at the minute, but I'm sure that they'll get back to somewhere where we all want them to be very shortly, hopefully.